Welcome, everyone. I'm Lesa McDermott, co host of the Girl Camper podcast. And I'm excited today to have Heather Leach, the executive director of the Hershey RV Show, which is going on next week. And Janine and I are going to be there. So stay tuned to hear about why you should attend the RV show too. So I'm really excited to have on today's Girl Camper podcast, Heather Leach. Welcome, Heather.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being on here. So please tell us what exactly you do. I know what you do, but please tell our audience what you do.
So I'm the executive director of the Pennsylvania RV and Camping Association. So we're basically a trade association that does everything from, advocacy and legislative work to technician training and other types of industry training. And of course, we sponsor America's largest RV show.
Which is?
The dates are September 11th through the 15th this year. And it is the first show in the country that has the latest model year units. So this year would be the first place you can see the 2025 units.
Wow. So we are talking about the Hershey RV show that's actually coming up next week. And I'm so excited because I get to go to it for the first time. So yay. Before we dive in a little bit further, we're going to take a quick break to thank Go RVing for sponsoring today's show.
What does it mean to camp like a girl?
It means charting your own course.
It means following your passions.
It means building your circle.
Sharing experiences.
And making memories that will last a lifetime.
It means conquering obstacles.
Finding your freedom.
And learning that so much more is out there for you to discover.
So what does it mean to camp like a girl? Well, that's for you to decide.
Because behind every great trip plan is a woman. Start your adventure today at GoRVing.com.
All right, and we're back. Thank you, Go RVing, for sponsoring today's podcast. We really appreciate it. So we're going to jump in and talk to Heather about the history of the Hershey RV show. Heather, what can you share with us about it? How has it evolved over the years to become one of the largest RV shows in the country?
So this is our 55th year. So we've been around for, quite a while. And it originally started that we were a sister association with the Manufactured Housing Association. So it originally was like a combo show of manufactured housing and RVs. And eventually, as you know, the RV industry has grown substantially over the last, obviously 50 years. So we kind of grew into our own and were able to be a standalone show. And what has really benefited the show as far as what makes it such an attraction to people is that it's a manufacturer show. So that is a lot different than like your regular dealer show. So basically, the people that we work with the most are the manufacturers. That's who we sell our space to. And so when you come, there'll be, here's the Jayco display and here's the Forest River display versus it's being set up by dealers. So it's a little easier for people to navigate, especially when it's this large. There's 1,500 units there. So it's a lot easier to navigate when you're searching for, a specific RV or a specific style. It makes it a little easier. And it's great because the manufacturer reps are all on site. So not only can you talk to dealers, but you get to talk to the people that are actually there, creating the RV. So if you have questions, it's a really great resource to be able to come and, maybe get questions answered that you wouldn't at your typical dealer show.
Oh, very interesting. I didn't realize, that it was more manufacturing focused, and that's very cool. So how does that work then if someone wants to, can they still buy RVs at the show?
Oh, yeah. So our first 2 days, we're actually open Monday and Tuesday for industry only. So sometimes media come in, we have dealers come in to look at the displays, maybe learn more about the product. And then Wednesday through Sunday, it opens to the public. And that's when the dealers kind of come in and take over the displays. So you can still purchase everything that you would do at a typical show or at at the dealership. You can do there on site. The only thing you can't do is drive the unit away right away, because they're in there pretty tight. It makes it hard to get anything in and out until the show's over. But you want them to do a PDI anyway before you take off with it. But so that's really the only thing that could be a little different, is you might have to wait to take ownership of it.
Very cool. That always amazes me when you go to one of these shows, especially the large ones or the ones that are indoors. It's like a little Tetris game of them getting all the RVs into these little spaces and so close to each other. It's fun to watch the setup and the breakdown of that. And I can only imagine, would you say 1,500 RVs at your show?
Hmm. Yeah, it's quite the process.
It has to be. It
Yeah,
absolutely has to be, and very well organized, I imagine.
I hope so. I'd like to think so.
So are there any new and exciting features or attractions this year at the show that attendees should look out for?
So this year, I have to pull up my little um, cheat sheet so I say it correctly. We do have this year a camper giveaway
Ooh,
that was sponsored by Forest River Flagstaff and Keystone RV Centers, the dealership. So it's a 2025 Flagstaff tent camper. So you can register to win that at the event, and it will be available online as well to register. And we also have new this year is a product giveaway. So we have the Indel, there's a refrigerator freezer and a Blue Tech RV water filter system that you can win there as well. You come in, scan the QR code, and you can register to win. So it's fun to have those little uh, giveaways throughout the show. And, we would appreciate someone sponsoring those things to give our attendees a little bit of extra bonus.
excellent. Excellent. Yeah, everybody likes giveaways and free stuff for
Yeah.
sure.
Hmm.
Definitely. So
And
how did, oh, good.
as I say, and one of the other things that we really kind of upped this year was our influencers. So
Oh,
last year, one of our favorite. Last year we had was really the first year we kind of delved into it by having just like one meet and greet with kind of a group of them, and it was very successful, and there was more demand for it. So our communications director very nicely set up a whole bunch of meet and greets throughout the week. And it's we have quite the lineup, so we're really looking forward to that being a success and giving people a chance to meet the people that they watch online all the time. So it's kind of exciting.
well, we're excited to be there. Janine Pettit and I with Girl Camper, we're going to be part of the meet and greet. I think our day is Thursday at the show from 11 to 12. So anybody that is going to the show, please stop by and say hi and get a free copy of the Girl Camper magazine. So yeah, come see us.
Yes, and you can see all that on our website. All the schedules on largestrvshow.com. You can go and check out the schedule so they can find where you're located and they don't miss you. So
Perfect. Perfect. Let's talk about industry trends and how does the Hershey RV Show reflect latest trends and innovations in the RV industry? And are there any emerging technologies or RV models that are particularly noteworthy this year that you know about?
well, I think one of the great things about our show is because, as I said, it's one of the first show that you see the 2025 units. So it's also a great place to kind of see those trends and see what the consumers are really after. This year, I would say they focus a lot, especially our like booth vendors. It's a lot about solar energy.
Mm.
People love anything solar, so we have several different vendors that you can check out the solar options. And I know Winnebago has, everyone's talking about e-vehicles and all that kind of stuff. Like Winnebago has a prototype of an electric vehicle that they usually bring on
Mm.
one site. Um, so, you know, I've been doing this for it's going on 20 years, and that's always been the what I can hardly believe it, but that everything's always been what makes it more fuel efficient, what makes it more affordable for the consumer. And so you've really seen that in the past couple of years, especially with the solar. And even we have a speaker with that talks about electric So it's kind of how to make sure your electrical work is done safely and the things to look out for. And it really then overall kind of gives you the best practices to conserve energy while you're on the road so that you're not, wasting anything while you're doing, while you're out on the road. But so I would say a lot of that is covered in our booth vendors, and we also have seminars. So you can see a lot of the stuff that comes up that people are really interested in. So they're hourly seminars, basically from 10 a.m. to like 6:30 every day. There's 4 different rooms. So there's lots of different topics in there that kind of cover like things that are currently going on, like, and you have your staples of, you, how to pick out your RV, and, full-time RVing, those kind of things. But that's really where those trends kind of pop up as far as like, y- different, especially different like maintenance tips. Like sometimes that stuff is really, that's where we can talk about the solar and all that kind of stuff and how that incorporates with your vehicle and what you need to do. So that's definitely an area I would check out if you're looking to see what is kind of new in the industry. Those are always a great place to look.
Very cool. So, in your 20 years, have you noticed any shifts in the RV industry regarding female consumers or
Yeah.
women-led businesses?
Absolutely. So when I started as the marketing director, and the whole market focus was trying to get away from the that RVs are for only for retirees. And that's only
Mm.
retired grandparents out there, driving their 40-foot motorhome down the road. And in the last 20 years, that has like we don't even talk about that anymore. Like that demographic has changed so much that, it's all about, young families getting out there and having an affordable way to vacation. Now, don't get me wrong, the retirees are still certainly a market that no one wants to ignore. But it's amazing how that was so, like, that was what you wanted to try to avoid being like it's more than it's you don't want to focus on the retirees. You want to make sure you're getting everybody in there. And I think you can even just see when just from walking around the show, the diversity of the people coming and checking it out and buying. It's kind of remarkable. And the number of females that are either doing it by themselves, or I, I I think research has proven that like women definitely, even when you're talking in the typical family arrangement, have a lot of voice in the buy and buying power in that group. And I think the industry has realized that's they have to focus on that and make sure that that is included, when they're doing all their research, because women certainly have quite a voice when it comes to what their family's purchasing, and even as far more as what females are considered, there's so many groups out there now that are focused just on females and RVing. A quick Google search will tell you, that you can join, there's Facebook groups that, for women only, kind of thing. So, and you certainly didn't have that 20 years ago, but
Um,
I think that's great because for people that maybe 20 years ago wanted to get into it, didn't even know where to start, or is there other people out there doing that? So really that social media aspect of it, it definitely has its cons, but but it does give people the ability to find those groups and realize that, oh, it's not just me that's out there wanting to do this. And it helps give you that whole community that you might not have known existed. And
mhm.
it's a great way to share tips and here's what you got to watch out for. And here, so I think that kind of thing has been, you know, really essential and really changing some of the demographics in the market just because of those groups alone.
Yeah, of course, that's what Grow Camper kind of is.
Yeah.
But in our short existence, we already have over 8,000 paid members, and
Yep.
these are all, women campers. And
Mhm.
we like to say there's no wrong way to camp like a girl. So, and we find that our demographics are kind of the older woman who is looking for something new to do, or maybe is a seasoned camper, and is looking for her people to go out and enjoy that with. So I agree with you.
Mhm.
We do see some changes in that, and when you talk about who makes the buying decisions, I think women historically have always kind of had that power a lot of
Yeah.
the time, especially when it comes to trip planning.
Oh my
You know,
word. They call my husband all the time. He's the travel princess because I make all the plans and then he just shows up and does
exactly.
whatever I say. And he's good with that. And so, I mean, and honestly, so am I, because who knows what we'd be doing if I left him in charge. But
I
yeah,
think that's very common in a lot of marriages. I know it is
yeah.
in mine. It's in my best friend's. So yeah.
hmm hmm And really, even the industry has changed so much. Like now we have the RV Women's Alliance that we did not have before, which, I
Yep.
mean, there's definitely more females in the industry. I That has definitely changed in the last 20 years as well. But this group has actually been very nice because, I mean, listen, I still walk into a room and it's still predominantly men,
Hmm.
but now it's like, I've now networked with all these other women. So at least when I go into a room, like, oh, I know this person, it does make it much easier to, you know, walk into those situations and be much more comfortable. So that's been really great. And they have actually worked with RVTI, which is the RV Training Institute, with their level 1, level 2 certifications. So they've done female only classes for their level 1 training, which has been really great. We hosted one here at our office it was last summer. And then we're also hosting another event during the show. So it's an all female class. And by the time they're done, I'm sure they will all pass their test and become a level 1 certified technician. And where they're actually coming over to the show on Tuesday, I believe, during industry days. And we had just were unveiling our new RV training. It's a mobile RV training station. So we purchased an RV and kind of decked it out so that we can take it to different dealerships and do trainings for them. So that's going to be the first time it's going to be used is for the RVTI and RVWA class to come over to the show and work on it. Um, so that's really great. And we love supporting that initiative. And, I will say, when you talk to anyone from RVWA and RVTI, uh, usually the all women's classes are the ones that everybody passes. Like, cause they're the ones they're making sure that they're studying and they're working hard to make sure that they're going to pass. And I think they have a really high success rate when it's an all female class.
They do. I'm actually on the committee for planning this. Yeah. And we have two girl camper guides, Risa Leppert and Stephanie Lemons is going to be attending the one that's
Oh,
in
good.
Hershey. So they
Okay.
better, dang it,
I'm,
they better
I'm sure
pass.
they will. I am sure they will. Yeah. I haven't seen the class listing yet, but I think it's full, but, yeah. So we're super excited about that.
Yeah, and it's a big push, in the RV industry to get not only more technicians trained, but women, because that's
Mhm.
kind of an untapped market there. And being an RV tech is such a great way to kind of have your own business. You don't have to work at a dealership to
Yep.
be a mobile tech. And the push behind it is the dealerships are so overwhelmed with trying to do basic repairs and warranty work and that kind of stuff that if we can get more techs trained, mobile techs that can still do this work, that's going to keep people on the road more and happier RVers. So it's good for everybody.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Well, and if something happens when you're at a campground, like
mhm.
what are you gonna do? So the mobile techs, I think, have been such a great addition to, like you said, keeping everyone happy, which is what at the end of the day we want. Because
Exactly.
we want to have a good time, Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what goes into the planning of a show like the Hershey RV Show, which is it the largest? Because I think there's this competition between you guys and the
Mm.
Florida RV Show.
Sure. I don't like to look at it as a competition. We're the only two that are doing events like this. So we often pick each other's brains as to what works and what doesn't or whatever, anything. But listen, that's also a great show. And that's put on by the Florida RV Association. So we're all on the same team. But yes, theirs is also very large. But I haven't gone a foot by foot comparison with them lately, but uh, it's quite the undertaking to get this all done. So our office is 7 full-time staff. And pretty much after the show ends, we're right back into planning it again for next year. So our booth vendors get a chance to re-up their space, and then it'll probably be like February is when I start working with the manufacturers, and then they have a draw for their space. And then all summer long, it's just putting together all the little pieces, the move in, all that kind of stuff. The move in we start on Labor Day. So it's a whole week long process to move all the units in. So they'll come Monday through Saturday, and we have some tow motor drivers on hand that help set the display. So they're setting units all week. And yeah, it's quite the process. It really is. And yeah, and people often say, "What, you should do another one." I'm like, one seems like enough. Like that seems pretty good.
So how do you pick the exhibitors and the vendors that do come to the show? What type of vendors can people expect to see at the show?
So, besides the RV manufacturers, we obviously have, it's over 170 booth vendors, I believe. And our membership director, Daniel, he's actually the one in charge of all of our booth vendor sales. And he has done a really good job over the last, well, however long he's been there, of kind of making sure we try to focus our booth and base on RV related companies. So when you come, you go to a lot of shows and it's like, oh, there's, maybe a bathroom renovation company or a gutter cleaning company, and I'm not saying they haven't been there over the years, but like as he's kind of filtered them out, and it's really, everyone that's there is certainly, has some kind of RV product or service, there. There's not a lot of, miscellaneous things that don't apply to the theme of the show. So you'll have everything from, campgrounds. There's campground brochure like distribution companies, as well as individual campgrounds that are there promoting. There's, the exciting things of insurance and finance that everyone loves to talk about, but are a necessity when talking about RVing and camping. To the fun accessories and gadgets that you want to take with you, whether it's, um, anything from camping chairs to your outdoor rugs, to fire pits and anything in between, that's anything that you can imagine. I'm sure you can buy toilet paper there if you really want to. So there's anything that you can possibly want, that's what the booth vendors are basically there to do. Any kind of service, is we really try to keep it everything RV and camping related.
Fun. That's fun. Well, and you mentioned insurance, so I think this is a good time to take another break for our show sponsor, Progressive Insurance.
If your travel trailer is uninsured, you could run into issues down the road. Protect your RV with Progressive. Quote online in as little as 4 minutes.
All right, and we're back. Thanks, Progressive. We love having you guys as one of our big sponsors of Grow Camper. We sure appreciate you guys. So, Heather, let's talk about attendee experience. What can an attendee expect as far as the experience? I know we talked a little bit about workshops and educational opportunities. But how do you make sure that the show is really engaging for both the first-time visitor and the seasoned RV enthusiast?
Well, so there's a couple of things that happen. Obviously, you have your standard things of like, there's a show program to show you where everything is. And I do recommend to those coming to the show, the first thing you do, if there are specific things that you want to see, you need to take 5 minutes and pull yourself off to the side and map out where you want to go, because it is very easy to be distracted by everything that's there. So if you're really on a mission and know what you want to look at, take a couple minutes and map it out, so that you don't, so that's not the end of the day and you're like, I didn't actually see anything that I came here, to see. So that's my number one tip. And also, besides wearing comfortable shoes, please wear comfortable shoes. But so, and to go back, I mean, we do have these hourly seminars. I think it's important that if you have any kind of questions, check those out, because I know you think I don't want to waste an hour when I could be out looking at RVs, but some of the information is very valuable, especially if you're new to RVing. It will there's seminars that tell you how to kind of select the RV that you're looking for. So that, do I need a toy hauler, or do I need a fifth wheel, or am I taking this tailgating, or, what, like, kind of help you narrow down what type of RV you're looking for, so that you're not going out there and getting something that you thought didn't that look fun, but it doesn't actually work for what you want to use it for.
Or
Right. Right.
the towing weight is such a huge thing, that
Yes. And
yeah.
there's seminars on that, like how to determine what kind of tow vehicle that you need, because that is very important, especially just from a safety standpoint. Obviously that's, we certainly want that to be, you want that to be right. And then, if you're a veteran RVer, like, there's everything from maintenance tips to maybe you do want to go full-time RVing. So there's a seminar there that will tell you, here are some tips. Here's what you want to look for if you want to, if that's what you want to do. So I do think those are important, and it kind of works for anyone that's kind of new to the industry, that, you might not even know, you might just be coming to look and, do I even really, is this something I even want to do? Some of those seminars will really help you decide if, like, this is for you. And like I said, and how to pick it, what questions to ask whenever you're buying an RV. Like, some people might not have any idea. So some of those seminars will give you an idea of, like, make sure you ask about this and make sure you ask about this, so that you can go out there and talk to the salespeople with some confidence that what's going on, which is a big thing, because it's a big purchase, so you want to make sure that you have everything covered that you need to know.
Because you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly.
Where a lot of
Yeah.
these seminars will really be helpful in that.
Yeah.
So I think those are great ideas, and they sound really exciting. I can't wait to kind of get done talking to you to go check out what the seminar schedules are.
Yep. Yep.
So, empowering women is a big focus with Girl Camper, because we are first. What advice would you give to a woman who is attending the RV show as a first time buyer?
Mhm.
Obviously, look at this, the schedule of educational opportunities, and attend as many of those as you think are applicable to you. But in what ways do you also think that the women are shaping the future of the RV industry, both as consumers and professionals?
Yeah. I would say, like, first, obviously, do some of your research before you get there. Because, as you said, you don't know what you don't know. And so I think coming in a little educated will already put you ahead of the game when you're looking at units. And don't be afraid to ask questions. Like, the RV reps are there. They do actually want you to go out and have a good time. They want you to know how to use the RV, and, so that is what they're there for. So don't be afraid. I feel like sometimes you, as a woman, like, I think this is getting less and less, but, like, I'm sure there's an intimidation factor and everything, but don't be afraid to ask the question. Trust me, I was not any kind of RV expert when I started working here, and I had to ask a lot of questions. But, now I know. So I think that's the one thing. Don't ever think that you can't ask something, because that is what they're there for, and they want you to know how to use these products. And like I said, I think doing the research before and I mean, with the internet anymore, everyone's showing up having done some kind of research, but I think that's key. And really, in the profession, that's really come a long way. I think in the last 20 years, you will see more female sales reps out there at both dealerships and the manufacturer level. Like, I think people realize that sometimes we know things sometimes. And, like, imagine that. So, yeah, I mean, you've definitely seen that more over the years, that it's not the all male industry that maybe you once thought it was. So it's nice to kind of see that. And I think that's very inviting too, for a woman going out there making a purchase, to know that there's someone else out there like them that's trying to trying to sell them this product,
Yeah,
we see a like face, you know what I mean?
I do.
So yeah,
Mhm.
so I think that has helped, but
Yeah. And, I think at your show, there's going to be so many different reps there for people to talk to that if you start talking to one of them and you're not comfortable with them or they feel
oh,
like they're kind of giving you the brush off, go find another one.
exactly. Yeah. I mean, that is one of the beauties of this show is that there's more than just one rep
Mm.
there. And what I always find amazing is like, especially some of our dealers, I've gotten to know a lot of them and a lot of them they're still those family run dealerships that are so great. Like when you'll come and I'll be like, oh, I know the owner of that company and his wife's there. She's greeting, you know what I mean? And it really gives, a whole lot of a sense of community and family, when you come to events like this. It's always amazing to me of how when you see the people coming out to work these displays and everything and they'll be like, oh, that's my nope, that's my husband, and oh, that's my son over here. So it's kind of nice to see how how that kind of works out. And I really think that's kind of inviting for people when they know like some of this is still a family business, and when this is lots of times it's a family activity. So I think that's really nice to know that like some of these businesses are still run by families and they're all out there, working for the same goal, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. That is neat. That's neat. So what kind of economic impact does the Hershey RV show have on the local economy and and the broader RV industry, do you think?
So, I mean, it's has a pretty good impact there in the Hershey area. I mean, even we're not only just talking about the number of people that come into the area as attendees, because I think last year we had nearly 50,000 people attend all week.
Wow.
So I mean, some people might come in for the day, but I mean, there's a lot that are renting hotel rooms and they're going out to eat at night. But we have thousands of exhibitors that come in. So, I mean, the amount of hotel rooms, that are booked, the amount of restaurants they're going to eat at. We're right next door to Hershey Park and Chocolate World. Like,
I've never been.
I bet you will be.
Well,
We share a parking lot with Chocolate World, so people are going over there and going home with their cars loaded full of candy. I've done that before. So I mean, just that alone, I don't know the exact dollar amount, but it's certainly, I know the visitors centers and everything are always quite happy when it's RV show time because obviously there are restaurants and hotels and even other local activities like Chocolate World and Hershey Park and all that kind of stuff certainly benefit from us being there. And it's a great location. It really is. So it's easy to get to and yeah, we like it there.
awesome. Awesome. So sustainability. How does the show address sustainability? Because that's a big issue with Girl Camper. We try to be as green as possible. And I imagine that's something too that you guys are aware of too in today's times.
Well, yeah, especially, I mean, this is outdoor activity. So obviously we like to keep everything as green as what we can. I will say over the years, we've tried to really cut down on like the amount of paper that we use, like the paper products. We currently have a show app.
I
So
was just going to ask if you had an
yeah,
app.
yeah. So it's you can download it wherever you download your apps. It's largest RV show, America's largest RV show, and that has everything in it that really our program does. So it'll have the seminars, it will have all the there's a map that'll show you where the manufacturers you want to see and the booth vendors, like everything's in there. So that has really helped us cut down on the number of programs that we've had to print. And we've also um, we'll tell people they can recycle their programs. Like we'll put boxes out that if they don't need it for the next day, they can put it in there and then throw it in the box and we can use it the next day for someone else. So that has cut down on some of the amounts of paper and everything that we use. And even like our giveaways. And we used to have paper ballots that you would have to fill out and write it on and, stuff it in a ballot. So we don't even do that anymore. So, everything's a QR code and you send it off electronically so that we don't have to bother carting around pieces of paper, So it's just little things like that we've tried to kind of do over the years to to help keep things a little greener.
That's awesome. That's really
Yeah.
cool. So, future trends, where do you see the Hershey RV show in 5 to 10 years?
Well, listen, the industry has grown so much, and I don't really see that stopping. It's a very cyclical cycle that RVing goes on, and we've just come off a high with
Mm.
over COVID. So I think there's a little bit of uh, market correction going on that most people have really been expecting. So I don't think it's a surprise that the market's changing a little bit. Um, but really, as far as the show's concerned, I mean, we've been sold out of manufacturer space and booth vendor space for years.
Wow.
It's more of an issue of how do we get new manufacturers in the show, and keeping the ones that have been there forever also happy, because you don't want to take, space away from them or anything. So that's kind of our probably our goal was to keep incorporating new manufacturers, because everybody wants to see um, as much out there as possible. Um, but we have pretty much we're at our full capacity of how big the show can actually go in this footprint. But we've got a couple of new manufacturers in this year, so we can squeeze them in every now and again. And I know Daniel's always he has a waiting list for booth vendors to come in the show. Um, but that has kind of helped, like I said, as he's kind of weeded out some of those less RV type products. That's one way that he kind of keeps that waiting list, in check, because he'll usually, if someone happens to drop out, we would definitely try to replace it with someone from the list that has a more RV themed kind of product that would be a good fit. But so I don't really see it. I don't see it shrinking anytime soon. So that's always, I mean, these are all good problems to have. Like, it's
Absolutely.
much better, so yeah, I mean, we'll just keep trying to squeeze in, new manufacturers here and there as we can to kind of keep it a little fresh for all the attendees coming in. And yeah, but
Excellent. Well, I think you addressed a good point. The industry is at kind of an interesting point right now with inventory and kind of a little bit of a slowdown possibly in buying at what they expected.
Mhm.
So if you're someone that's interested in getting into RVing, now's a great time to buy.
no, yeah, absolutely. It is. Yeah. I mean, back in, 2021, uh, they were like, we don't even have to sell them. You know what I mean? Like, people, they wanted them. Now the sales people probably have to work a little more at it. So you can probably, you know, you probably weren't being able to get there wasn't a lot of negotiation. I'm going to guess back in 2021. I'm sure there's a little more of that now. So yeah, this is the time when you want to buy.
And your show is an excellent place to come. Like you said, you're going to see the 2025 models for the first time. That's going to be really neat.
Mhm.
Such a variety. So you can really check out whether you want a camper van all the way up to a massive, fifth wheel,
Yeah.
and probably even some park models, I would
We
imagine
we
will be there
we
too.
have part models back this year. They kind of were on hiatus since probably 2019, just because of their inventory issues and all, and the, you know, demand for them. But so we have Great Outdoor Colleges and Woodland Park coming back this year. So they're always fun to walk through.
They are.
If you're not buying, they're still fun to walk through and look at them. I love looking at them.
They are.
And I don't know. Great Outdoor Cottages said they're bringing something extra fun. They wouldn't tell me what it was, but I can't wait to see what they bring. Yeah.
So over the years of your 20 years of being with the show, what have been some of your most memorable moments or stories from the Hershey RV show that have stood
Mm.
out to you?
So probably the most memorable year was 2011, because that was the year that during the setup week there was hurricane rain and storms that were coming in that whole week. It was, oh my word, like, roads were closed. I mean, I think some of them, like, I don't want to say there were sinkholes, but like they needed repair when it was done. So we had 1,500 units trying to make its way to Hershey that was being underwater. So
Oh,
that it was, and like they usually show up the week before and they get washed and then it's usually a pretty organized process. And this year it was like, how are we going to get them in? Because the week of the show was going to be beautiful. It was just this setup week where these and I was on maternity leave. I was still marketing director at the time and I was on maternity leave, just sitting at home, staring out my window going, oh my word, what is happening down there? And my husband, um, he was actually driving the tow motor, driving forklift for setup that week. So he would come home and I'd be like, what's happening? And he's like, well, and he was telling me all the different routes that you had to take to get, and all these poor transport companies trying to find their way to luckily the Giant Center sits up a little higher. So there was not actually any flooding at the Giant Center. It was just all the roads getting into it. But they made it happen, which is, I still don't know how they did it because I mean, like every road except for one was closed into Hershey. Like it was crazy. It's like a huge testament to how these shows work and not just our show, like all these, it is when you're doing an event like this, everybody has to come together and work for the greater good of the show. And that was like an extreme example of hopefully that doesn't happen again. I prefer that not to happen.
knock on wood.
But like, yeah, but like everybody really works together. Even like in a good year, it's always like, hey, oh my word, I need this. And someone's like, oh, here, I can help you with that. Or, oh my word, like my golf cart has a flat tire. They're like, I'll change that for you. Like it's stuff like that that comes up. It can be little stuff or it can be major stuff, but it's always so impressive to me how when you're putting on this event, really everybody works together and it's not always necessarily about that person's display. It's they know it needs to be done and people are willing to do whatever it takes to help make the whole show a success. And I really think that kind of relates to how RVers are because you go to any campground and, people are making friends with the people next door to them. And if someone needs help with someone's willing to help and, oh, I don't know how to do this. And they're lending a hand. And I think it's just, it always is amazing to me how setting up this show and getting it running it's like a theme of the whole RV industry in general, so I just always love seeing that when people can work together that might not benefit them, but they know that that's what needs to be done to get this show on, up and running. So those are probably my favorite moments is when things like that happen.
Yeah, RVers, I think, are some of the nicest people out there. And I can only imagine, like, with your show being the kickoff really to the whole RV season, that your manufacturer reps and some of this, the sales reps and all that are in this great mood to get out there and, they've got the enthusiasm as opposed to being
Mhm.
the last show of the season where by then they're kind of exhausted.
Right. Yeah, that probably does help. And it's always like some of these guys that set up the show, they're like sales reps too. You know what I mean? So they're there
Mhm.
from beginning process the whole way through to the end. So some of them have a long 2 weeks, that's for sure. But
Mhm.
it's always great to me to see how everybody can kind of work together to get this done. Yeah. And like I said, just like at a campground, when someone needs help with something, you can find someone that's gonna be able to help you out and figure it out.
Very true. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. I'm so looking forward to next week's show. I can't wait to be there, and I highly encourage anybody who hasn't been or has been to the Hershey show to come and check all the new models out, check everything out at the show, and definitely come say hi to Janine and I. But Heather, thank you so much for coming on today's show. This has been super informative and a lot of fun.
All right. Thank you for having me. I enjoyed it.
Well, that's our show for today. And I really want to thank Heather Leach for taking the time to talk to us about next week's Hershey RV show. I hope if you're in the area, you're able to come. Janine and I will be in the influencer area on Thursday from 10 to 11. Please stop by and say hi. Otherwise, it's going to be a great show. Thanks for watching or listening today if you're podcasting. And if you enjoyed today's show, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Connect with us online through Girl Camper website, our Facebook groups, and Instagram. And be sure to check out all of the events that our Girl Camper Guides have lined up. We've got a lot of fun ones still for the rest of the year. And join us in the fun. Until next week, I'm Lesa McDermott, and I will catch you by the campfire.